Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. You know how I am. You know what we're here to do. In the studio is the man you know, the man you love. He's back. We're here for part two. My man, Justin Corwin. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, brother, I'm doing good, man.
Good,
Thanks again
man.
for having
Hell
me.
yeah,
I know we cut off a little short last time, but I love being here, man.
That's all right.
This is a fun thing. We did the last one. I listened to it. Turned out awesome. Psyched to do this one. I'm psyched to do more in the future. So
Me too, man.
let's dig into it, man.
Heck yeah, dude. Thanks for coming back. When
Thanks,
we
dude.
left off on part one, we were on we were talking about motorcycle mileage a little bit. We were, dude, it was it was a while ago. I didn't brush up on it, but that's okay. We were talking about mileage and just gonna get into motorcycle safety a little bit. So let's pick up off there. With motorcycle mileage.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if it's low, if it's high, what's good, what's bad, when
Right.
shopping for a used bike.
So, I mean, the last time we left off, just a quick recap. If you're buying a bike to sell it, if you're trying to get some money out of it, try to stay under that 20,000 mile mark. I mean, age is definitely a factor. Conditions a factor. If someone left it in their wet basement, man, 10,000 miles doesn't mean squat. But on the other side of that coin, if you're looking for a bike to if it's something that you found that you are really made for, if it's a perfect machine for you, mileage isn't a factor. I mean, there's high mileage bikes out there. My Triumph's got 60,000 miles on it right now.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was
Yep.
that high. No kidding.
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep,
And that thing runs like a freaking dream.
right,
dude.
and it's all about
Yep.
maintenance, condition, rebuild, all that fun stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that
Dude,
one.
for sure, dude.
I was fortunate enough to find that the guy that I got that off of took good care of it. That's what it's all about. Even if he didn't take good care of it, the other reason I say mileage is never a factor is every single part on those things is replaceable, man. I mean, you have to do a top end, bottom end, and blew a transmission gear out.
Oh yeah, dude.
Jobs can definitely stack in difficulty. That some of the jobs there you need to know what you're doing. Talk to someone that has done it before.
Right. Dude, and I'll tell you what, man. My bike's a 1981, dude, and I've had to put some parts on that. And I surprisingly, I went online and there's this website. It's called what's that? Babbitt's Auto, or no, it's Babbitt's Online.
I don't know if I've ever used that.
Yeah, dude, they got stock parts all the way back to I want to say 1977 or something. Like that.
Hey.
Yeah, Babbitt's. It's all motorcycle OEM shit, dude. It's
Nice.
yeah. So I was able to get the gaskets and stuff for the crankcase because
That's perfect.
yeah, dude. And speaking of which, I mean, you can tear these things down and rebuild them however you want.
Oh,
I
man.
had the Cafe Racer engine tore apart. What was it, last winter?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes. Yeah.
And I put that paint on the crankcase and I stuck it in my oven in the house in the middle of winter and cured it, dude.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, man, my pizza tastes it tastes like paint for, dude, weeks.
Yep.
Weeks. But yeah, like you say, it's all, you take care of your machine's gonna take care of you, man.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, man. On top of that, something to kind of segue into is when you have enough experience purchasing and installing and rebuilding, parts specific to the bike, the stuff to stay away from. Like OEM's always suggested, OEM's always going to be a great bet because you could pack 40,000 miles on a bike without having to replace anything big OEM.
Right.
But man, if you dump a cylinder and you go out and get those Chinese rings, you're gonna know it. You're gonna get a couple thousand out of those.
For sure.
That's it. It's all about quality of material, and
For
you
sure.
can get away I had this conversation the other day with a buddy. You can get away with a cheap gasket set, a little bit of black RTV, oil resistant RTV,
Right.
and fix those gaskets up with that, and it's fine. You're paying $5 or $6 for a crank gasket, as opposed to OEM might be upwards of $20 or $30. Sometimes that kind of thing you can, if you install it the right way, if you do it the right way, you can stretch your dollar. Especially again, if you're buying a bike to sell it, make some money off of it.
Right, dude.
You don't want to do stuff the wrong way and sell someone a lemon, but you don't want to spend all of the profit that you're going to make on that bike in the parts that you're doing it with, too.
No doubt, man.
So,
dude, that's part of the motorcycle experience. And if you go and buy a bike at a dealer, there's no shame in that. You know what I mean? Because maybe you don't have the mechanical knowledge, but
Absolutely.
also, dude, learning about working on them is part of the motorcycle experience.
Absolutely, it is. I completely agree with that. And
working on your own bike type feeling. You get that bike running top notch, and then you're out cruising down the road, dude. It's a good feeling knowing that you worked on that bike.
Absolutely. So, and honestly, and I totally agree with that. That's how I take it. That's how almost everybody I talk to takes it. The other side of that coin, for whoever's watching or listening, is if you're the kind of person, say you're maybe a little older, you don't want to work on your own stuff, you don't have any experience with that kind of thing, you can go to a dealership, pick up a bike, get a maintenance schedule, take that bike back to the dealership for maintenance. The whole time you have that bike, they're going to, if it's a decent dealership, they're going to do it right, they're going to treat you well, you're going to have a bike that, I definitely condone, do it yourself, learn, work on your own stuff, but again, it fits the bill of if you just want to be on two wheels, and you don't want any part of maintenance or anything like that, that's where a dealership shines. Or even a small engine shop or something like that. Dude.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So
we're on the road, man, and we're going. What are some good safety things to look out for? You know what I mean? Let's get into safety a little bit because that's super important. You got to be really aware. You got to be paying attention to what is going on, man.
100%. And that's, the last podcast I listened to between when we made it and now, and it like, if that was it, that'd be wonderful. If you didn't have a damn thing to worry about,
for sure,
that'd be perfect. But a big thing that cannot be ignored is the safety and risk factor of what you're doing. If you're going down the road, even in a small car, you're going down the road, and this big old fat raccoon, walks out in front of you and you smack into it. Worst case scenario, you roll it over, maybe you're on snow, you slide a little bit, smack into a telephone pole. Most raccoon accidents, and I'm not saying 100% because I'm sure there's statistics out there, but most raccoon accidents, you're going to be pretty much fine.
You're going to be fine, yeah.
A big raccoon on a bike is a big deal. If you hit it the wrong way,
a pothole is.
A
pothole is, for sure. I've had some close calls, man. I'll tell you what.
I know you have.
And
that's, that's the thing. Even when it comes to stuff like potholes, squirrels, sharp objects, a bad tire, you've got 4 tires on your car. One of those things goes, that's 25% of your contact on the road.
For sure.
But it's still something that most of the time you can handle, pull over, get it done safely. You blow a tire on a bike, man. I was following a guy to Aurora on the shore probably 5 years ago or so, following a group of guys, and all of a sudden there was commotion in the middle of the pack. One guy pulled over, and I pulled over right behind him because I knew right off the bat like how his bike was handling. He had his wife on the back. And it was a pretty stock Harley. It was like an old Road King or something like that. And he handled it perfectly. But man, that's a situation I would not wish on my worst enemy.
For sure,
blowing a tire going down the road. That's some, especially up front. That's some funky business.
Yeah.
Yes. But back to your question, there's definitely a necessity for being aware and careful on a motorcycle. The way I see it, there's a specific set of rules that do not change whether you're whatever riding environment, whatever conditions you're in, whatever you're riding. There is a certain set of laws that you have to abide by to make sure that you get home safe. Because if you're going to go out on a bike, you're going to want to get home safe and do it again tomorrow. You know what I mean?
For sure.
The number one shining rule is you have to be aware. You have to be scanning.
You got to be paying attention to what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You got to be paying attention to what you're doing and what other people are doing because that's the thing, man. You think deer's like a big deal. And deer are a big deal, but other drivers are a big deal because you got everybody out there now on freaking cell phones, dude.
Absolutely.
Like texting and driving and stuff. So you got to watch out for that, obviously,
100%.
right?
And that's the thing. Like it's not a lot of guys will get on a bike and be like, yeah, I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. I know. I know myself. I know how to look for this stuff, and it's not you. It's everything else. That's the number one thing I tell people is it's not you that you have to worry about. It's everything else. You know what I mean? You get in a situation. Say there's a deer crossing the road. There's a car coming towards you. There's a set of potholes. You're going around a curve. It's Murphy's Law that all that shit's going to happen at once. You know what I mean? And you just have to be prepared for it.
Man. You got to be prepared for it.
You got to be. There's no. And unfortunately, like. You and I, we're planning on going on a camping trip this year.
Right.
It's going to be a long distance. And the thing that sucks about a long distance ride is it's so exciting on the way out. You get there, you do your thing. Coming back, you're not as aware as you were on the way out. And you have to, when you're on a bike, you have to absolutely train yourself to be prepared, to be aware you're prepared for anything. You cannot let anything surprise you at any moment. And there's and a lot of people that know me would giggle at this because I'm not necessarily disciplined in anything else I do, but there's such a discipline you have to have for being on a bike. It's just if you ride with the assumption that everything and anything is out to ruin your day, then you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's definitely.
But don't let it take away either.
Exactly.
From the fun of it, dude. Because
exactly.
they're living on the edge, man.
That's right. I mean? That's right.
And
that's it's such a flowing duality.
Right, man.
That applies to motorcycling or even being on two wheels at all. It's you're balancing that fun and you're trying to be careful, and it's just it's a dance, man. That's all it boils down to.
Dude, it is, man. Whether or not you are into wearing helmets or aren't wearing helmets.
Sure.
I don't wear a helmet. Unless I'm doing a long distance ride.
Sure.
It's probably not the safest thing, but I'll tell you what, man. When I'm going down the street on the Cafe Racer and the wind's blowing through my hair, dude, and I'm just cruising, I gotta tell you, dude, it's a pretty free feeling,
Again, to each his own. And
to each their own.
To answer your question that you had asked initially, again, just to recap, always be aware, always be careful, always know what's going on.
Yep.
The second thing you want to do, and these are the two biggest rules, is don't ride outside of your ability.
Absolutely.
Unless you're at a track, tracks are designed for you to slide off and be totally fine. You know what I mean? If you can push limits on the track.
Not a freaking telephone pole waiting for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing about if you're pushing it and you slide off the road, there's always a tree, telephone pole, or something else that's gonna hurt you waiting.
For sure,
and so, man, be aware and don't push your limits. And eventually. Not by pushing your limits, but just by riding and practicing the right way to ride, you're going to increase your limits exponentially because you don't want to get out there and push your limits and damage your bike and get a sour taste and be done with it. You want to grow in it. If it's something that you feel applies to you, if it's something that you find is really a part of your persona, like you and I, you want to be out there tomorrow. You want to persevere. So
definitely, dude.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. So, man, these are great beginner tips and everything, and I want to kind of get into a little bit more of the advanced rider stuff, dude.
Sure.
I know you and I both, we really love, dude, we love the windy roads, man.
Absolutely.
We love going down them, and getting into the turns. I'm big about the turns, trying to get the knee down.
Oh yeah, I know you are.
So
I've seen you ride.
So I don't know where I want to go with this question.
Let me take it.
You take it from here, bud.
So just the nice thing about motorcycling and really anything that compares to such a hobby is you can continuously learn. You're never going to reach a point where I know everything. You know what I mean? You're never going to reach that point of climax to where it's boring after that point. You can continue to learn. And the nice thing is, once you start, it's such a broad spectrum of finding how to identify yourself and how to identify what kind of machine, what kind of riding style, all that fun stuff. And as you go, it narrows to a point. And honestly, like for you and me, our next step, a cool next step, a good next step is, just like I talked about that beginner class earlier, they offer intermediate and advanced classes as well. It's not anything that's going to get you a license or anything like that because you have it already.
Right.
But the beginner class, just to touch on what we talked about last time, beginner class, they supply a bike, it's classroom stuff, and it's like 8 hours total. So 16 hours total. The intermediate classes are a lot shorter, and you bring your own machine. Because what you're doing is it's a closed course for 75% of it, I believe. It's closed course, and you're starting to push your limits and understand your machine more. So it's a structured learning instead of.
Do they teach you how to do wheelies in there?
I don't know about that. I know I can tell you from the beginner class, wheelies are frowned upon.
Oh,
and
oh man, that's a self-taught.
That's one of those things you got to piss around with on your own, brother.
Dude, I remember the first time I pulled a wheelie, dude, on my Gixxer.
Uh-huh.
There you that. Don't know. Yes, I used to have a GSXR 1000.
And it was sweet.
And, dude, I remember the first time I pulled my wheelie on a power wheelie on that. Dude, I didn't even have to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
All I had to do was just twist the throttle and it
handful of grubs,
came
man.
right up. And, oh, man, I'll tell you, what a good feeling. But
absolutely.
You get to that balance point and it's like, oh, shit. You know, like,
absolutely.
You don't know what's going to happen.
And that's the thing. Like, you can, I don't know any institutions or clinics that will teach you the mechanics of a wheelie.
There was one. I saw. They have like this
know.
thing they strap to your bike, dude.
Yep.
You could like just pull it straight back and just like
and go with it.
Feel that balance point.
I saw that too, and that's
I
so
cool. Build one of them. That'd be that's true. We should do that. We should build one of those.
I'm into it, man. I'm down to clown for that.
So sweet, man.
Man, but I'll tell you what. There's definitely helpful videos online, and honestly, like with enduro riding stuff like that, the more off-road stuff. It's a necessity. I mean, if you're getting over logs, you're getting over humps and stuff, you need to know your machine. Sure. You need to know your balance.
You gotta be able to do a wheelie, dude.
Right, exactly. But even the biggest thing with a wheelie is, and I'm no professional at this. I try my hardest, and it eludes me every time because of the thrill of the wheelie. But the biggest thing you want to do is cover your rear brake and know your balance point. Because once you get past that, it is the least smart thing you can do is depend on your engine to get you back down. You know, you want to tag that rear brake and get yourself back to where you need to be.
Yeah, just keep your foot fluttering over that.
Exactly, and the better you get at it, the more you stay in that balance point, and the more you're able to use your brake when you need it. You know what I mean?
See, I haven't got to that.
I know, I haven't either.
I've gotten the balance point, and I thought I was gonna go backwards. And I was like, that's enough for me. You know,
and that's my thing with that is, my view on that is, I mean, every machine's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not absurdly different, but it is easier to it seems like the faster you go in a wheelie, the more sustained it is, just because of your gyroscopic properties that are happening with the bike.
Right. Yeah, you're kind of like chasing it now.
Exactly. Not even chasing it, but it becomes say first gear on a dirt bike. You get that thing up in the air and it's super twitchy. You can go back and forth, and you got to be real quick with it.
Right.
In say second gear on a leader bike, third gear on a leader bike, it's a lot more of a smooth motion because you're hauling ass at that time. You're hauling a mail with that wheelie. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's a certain set of principles that you abide by, whatever you're riding, whatever speed you're going.
Yeah.
It's just mastering that is you got to be quick, man. You got to be on your toes.
For sure, man. I'll tell you what. I don't know what it is, dude, but seeing somebody do a wheelie never gets old. It never gets old, dude.
You know, the day I am somewhere, someone does a wheelie, and I see it. If we're ever together, and someone does a wheelie, and I don't have any emotional expression on my face,
for sure,
just shoot me, man. That's end me. That's because I've reached a point in my life where nothing pleases me. You know, I completely agree, man. Seeing a wheelie, seeing any kind of shenanigan like that is just it makes the kid in you laugh.
It does.
You know.
I remember I took my KTM over to my sister's house and my brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
We got out of my truck, dude. He hopped on that thing, took it down the road, and just started. He rode a fifth gear wheelie, man, for like a mile. And I was just like, watching. I was like, dude, you're my hero, man.
Yep.
He come back through. It's actually in the beginning of one of my videos, I think, on YouTube.
That's awesome.
One of them dirt bike videos. But yeah, dude, yeah, he just was riding it right. I was like, that is the coolest thing
That's
ever.
beautiful.
I love it. Love it.
Just the simple joy, man. You know?
Yeah. So if you're out there, you're thinking about doing a wheelie for the first time, you might have to clutch it up.
Right. Cover your brake. That's the only advice I have. And honestly, you and me started off this most likely the same way. That was not how we learned how to do a wheelie.
Right.
And we're still paying for it.
No doubt.
But if you're thinking about starting, cover that brake. And don't do it on your brand new $10,000 MT10.
Yeah.
Get a beater bike. Get something that you don't feel bad about knocking over a couple times.
Yeah.
Because that's how you gotta learn. You're not gonna hop
I've
on and be a
watched all
master
the
at it.
videos on YouTube on my bike, dude. I was just like watching them. I was, I think I probably watched every single wheelie and crotch rocket video that was on YouTube, man.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So
it's a rush.
I
It's
love
fun.
it, dude. It's so awesome. It's so good.
But,
I don't have any notes here. I don't know what all you want to get into, dude.
Man, I'll tell you what. I think
I was gonna do the notes and excuse me, and then I didn't, and then I just we're just winging it. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's all good.
No, it's fine. It's easy to talk about too.
It is, yeah,
and
sure.
I think to feed off of your last question, as maybe we'll consider ourselves intermediate riders. As intermediate riders, what can we do to better ourselves? I think answering, doing stuff right, taking the next step in learning about our skills and technique and our what I don't care, man. I think there's also something to be said about properly maintaining a bike. You know what I mean? And I know you're on the same page.
Yeah.
It's cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to a bike.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
you gotta have that grubby bike that you just don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, when you have a bike, you're gonna be taking care of it. Like I said in the last podcast, if you own a motorcycle, you're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna drive around something that's nasty, dirty, unless it's maybe a dual sport enduro. If that's your thing, then do it. But
for sure.
In my opinion, with my machines, I try my best to keep things clean as often as possible. Just because you get fling off of your chain, you get road dust, you get crap coming off the guy's car in front of you, you get bugs. Bugs are the worst,
right?
Especially not wearing a lid.
Yeah.
Sure. You get all that stuff, and it's easier to chase that and keep your bike clean. Unless, let me backtrack. It's easier to keep your bike clean if you do it often. The less often you do it, the harder you'll find it is to get that crap off the wheels, to get all of your stuff taken care of. The nice thing about cleaning a bike too is, especially with an older machine, you're cleaning underneath this thing and you notice it developed an oil leak from somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's easy to get that taken care of. Otherwise, that could cake up and dust, and you won't notice it until next year, and it'll be bad.
For sure.
Exactly, man. And that's I think that's another important aspect of owning, riding, and maintaining.
Definitely, man. I'll tell you what. One of the best things for cleaning your chain, I found this out, is kerosene.
Kerosene.
A toothbrush. It doesn't
I've
mess
heard
with
of
the
that.
O-rings. Yeah, it doesn't mess with the O-rings.
I've heard of that. I haven't tried it.
Yep, I've used kerosene. It cleans it right up. Do a little toothbrush, get in there and scrub it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it works pretty good. So if you're wondering the best way to clean a chain,
right on, man.
It works. Yeah, takes that oil right off. Dude.
Yeah.
Takes it right off. So.
Right on, man.
But yeah, man, take care of your bike, dude. You need your bike to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun getting into wrenching on it a little bit, dude.
Yep.
And that's modifying it if you're into doing that, modifying it your own way. Like I know, like every time you get a bike, dude, it's like less than a day you're doing something to it. You're tearing into it.
That's the thing. Like, I can't necessarily exactly explain it, but I feel so strange if in all the bikes I've ever bought or used, I've never ever bought a brand new bike.
Right.
Maybe someday, hopefully, but I've never purchased a bike and felt comfortable not getting my fingers into it. Like I don't trust people enough.
Right.
It's a community, it's a brotherhood. You got people out there, everybody's watching back, but on the other side of that coin, you got to trust yourself when it comes to knowing your machine, knowing what's going on with it, knowing how to take care of it.
Yeah, your standards are going to be different than maybe somebody else's.
Exactly.
Somebody else lets something slide that maybe you want it. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
Definitely.
And I don't know where it comes from. It's just it's my preference to, when I get something, I'll tear into it, and if by chance there's a easy modification to do right off the bat, I'll start digging into that stuff, and might come to modifying intake, exhaust, valve train, cam, stuff like that. It all depends on the bike. It's always different. And that's the cool thing is when I do that, every time it's something a little different. I'll dig into forums. I'll dig into what people have done before, and I've got that experience. Again, full circle back to what we first started talking about is I use it to better my knowledge base about the entire subject.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's something. I think my favorite part about it is I feel like it's something that I can grow with and use to further myself. You know what I mean, personally, and it's something that's I'm never going to reach a carrying capacity and not be able to learn anything else. Like I'm going to go to the grave and there's still, I'll have not learned way more than I'll have learned.
Right.
It's endless possibilities, man. That's what I love about it.
I don't know, dude. Are you looking at buying another bike straight or what? You got any more coming in or what, man? It seems like you're getting a bike every other month.
I know. I have. So in the fall, actually fall of last year, was a really good time to buy bikes, and I have the way my house is laid out, I've got a shed outside that has no heating, no electricity to it whatsoever. And then I have an attached garage to the house that I have a wood burner in. And I have a lift in there that I like to use for the bigger bikes. It's a pneumatic lift. It's like 2,500 pounds, something like that. And then I have a man door that goes into the basement of the house that I can
Right.
fit. I can't fit 4-wheelers and 3-wheelers in, but there's another lift inside there. That's where I keep all my fun stuff.
Right.
And where was I going with this?
You were gonna tell me about the next bike that you're buying.
Okay, so I got off track a little bit.
That's all good.
Last
That's all
year,
good.
I had purchased a couple project motorcycles. So normally about this time, I would be thinking about what I want to get into next year.
Yeah.
But instead of that, I'm thinking about getting these fixed up and out the door before I get into it. Man, I've been thinking about it for a while, and like I said, it's not necessarily in my character to buy a new bike,
Yeah.
but Yamaha from I believe 17 so far to 21 has produced the motorcycle. It's called the MT10, and that is if I were to purchase a new expensive bike, this thing's tagged for 13 grand.
Holy smokes.
It's a chunk to spend, but if whoever's listening out there watching, if you guys get a chance to look up a video of one of these things, they share the same basic CP4 engine. It's their cross-plane 1000cc engine with the R1.
What's this thing called, dude? I want to look this up real quick because for the YouTube.
It's a Yamaha MT10, and it's not necessarily like styling wise. It's not 100% what I'm on with.
Yeah.
But as far as ergonomics, what I want out of a bike as far as power, the geometry of the bike, it's all there, dude. It's I wish they would make this bike in a little more of a classic styling, but
Dash 10.
Yep.
MT dash.
And,
Let me pull it up.
oh, they're bad machines.
Dude, I gotta look at this. All right. Window capture.
And it's not all. A lot of people buy the FZ10, the MT10, the R1 for the crossplane engine because it sounds like an Indy car, but it's a lot more than that. It's how Yamaha's evolved their geometry of their motorcycles over the years. It's an upright bike. Again, I don't like the full sport position.
Oh,
It's got a good amount of power, and it's one of those things like from what I've found for myself, what I like in a motorcycle, that is what I can assume to be a dream bike of mine.
Oh, wow, dude.
It's a little on the futuristic side styling wise, but in my opinion, that's one of my goals. That's a bucket
Heck yeah,
bike for
man.
sure.
Heck yeah, dude. Absolutely, man.
So, but yeah, again, if you get a chance to look one of those things up, give it a listen. I mean, they're gnarly.
Dude.
They're awesome.
Dude, I like those H2s. The H2.
No.
I don't even think they're legal in the States. Are they? Don't they have like a top speed of like 260 mile an hour or something?
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
don't know a lot on those. I know that's Kawasaki's
Dude,
big
it's
girl,
yeah,
man.
for sure, dude. It's their bread and butter, man.
Yep.
When I become a Bitcoin millionaire, that's what I'm doing.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna buy the H2.
There you go.
I'm telling you, dude.
Heck yeah, man. And that's, so the Yamaha's MT10 is a great bike. Kawasaki makes a Z900 RS cafe style bike
Oh,
that
really?
I've also been thinking about.
Okay.
And it's a little lower price tag. It's a 4-cylinder, 900cc or inline engine. It's really nothing fancy, but again, it's the thing I like about it. I compare it a lot to my Triumph. It's an upright bike. It's got that cafe styling, but it's comfortable and the geometry's there. I actually talked to a dude who went on a ride last year. He had one, and he loved, everything about it. Just a good machine all around. From his opinion, I've looked at videos. I really can't find anything that people don't like about those. You know what I
Right,
mean?
for sure.
Aside from if you don't like cafe styling, then you're not gonna like that bike. You know what I mean?
I like
I know you do.
I love the cafe style. We only got a minute left on this part 2 for the 30. Unless you want to run over the 30 minutes.
You know what? Let's wrap it up with this one,
Okay.
and then we can get into another topic if we.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, cool, man. All right, well, thanks for coming in to the studio for the second part of this Motorcycle Experience podcast episode.
Right on, man.
Loved the conversation, dude. Hopefully the audience out there, they loved it. And we're gonna have you back on the show, man. We're gonna have you back on for another episode, dude.
Hey.
We'll get into something else, man.
I love it, man. I appreciate you having me, and thank you so much, dude.
Absolutely, man. All right. This is Conversations with Kenny. I'm your boy, Kenny. You guys have a good one.